Hello there, Mrs. Ehlke here. I wanted to do a painting for Easter, and this is kind of a fun one. It's pretty easy to do. It just involves kind of a wash of watercolor followed by a black silhouette. And so I thought this would be good for any level of artist to do. The three crosses, of course, with a pretty sunrise in the distance or sunset. So yeah, see if you can do it, try it out. It's a lot of fun. Skies obviously are never the same, so you can really play around with how your sky looks. And then once that's dry, add the black silhouette. So enjoy and have fun with this one, and hope you have a wonderful Easter. Thanks. I'm starting off with a 140-pound piece of paper. It's a little bit thicker to take the watercolor. And I am making just kind of a slight hill towards the bottom of the page. I'm actually lowering my first line a little bit to make it even lower yet. I'm starting off with some yellow, and I'm just making these horizontal or diagonal brush strokes. I want my lines all kind of leaning up towards the right side of the page, and I'm just kind of streaking some yellow colors here and there. The more paint you use, the brighter your colors will be, so I'm using pretty bright colors right away, and not a ton of water for the yellow. As I add this red or this like crimson color, I am using a little bit more water because I didn't want it to be super red. And adding the extra water kind of helps it bleed with the yellow a little bit, which makes some nice shades of orange. I'm still working in the diagonal direction. I want most of my lines starting at the lower left and then going up to the top right. This will make my sky more dynamic. I can go in and just add clear water too, which is what I was doing there, and then it'll just kind of suck in whatever colors are nearby. I'm continuing with a little bit more of the like rosy color towards the top, and then now I'm going to switch to some purple. I'm starting off with kind of a magenta purple, and then if I want it to be a little bit more blue, I can go ahead and add a little bit of blue as well, and that'll kind of blend it in. The blue also mixes well with the pink that I already have on my sky, so if you kind of brush it enough, it'll make some nice shades of purple too. I don't want to over brush things because I don't want all of my colors just to mix together to make kind of a muddy mess. So try to not over brush the color. Now I'm going to let it dry. So I let it dry, and actually before I dried the page, I went in with some Kleenex and just kind of lightened up some of those areas in there. They had been kind of creating some puddles, so I wanted to kind of lighten them up, and it gives kind of a cloudy-like effect in the sky. Now I'm going into my straight black paint, and I'm trying to get lots and lots of paint and not a lot of water because I want my lines to be smooth and I want my paint to be nice and dark and rich. And I'm going and filling in the area that I had left blank before, so a little hill. If you overlap some of the sky that you had done previously, it's not a big deal, so you can kind of shape your hill to whatever you want it to look like. Now I want to add some grass, and I want the grass to kind of go diagonal too, so I'm really making sure to hold my brush up and down, and I'm trying to kind of lift it up as I brush the grass like away from the little hill. So I start on the hill and then kind of sweep it up and away, so that it has a nice really thin texture. If you want to switch to a smaller brush to do this, be my guest. I am just too lazy to switch brushes, so I'm staying with the same one. The brush I'm using is a round size 6 brush. Now I'm going to add the crosses in, and I'm going to start with the center beams of the cross The nice thing is because they're made of trees and the wood, it may not be perfectly straight. So if you don't make your lines perfectly straight, it's not a big deal. I would start off with a pretty skinny line. You can always make it wider, but it's hard to go back skinny again. So try to go real thin right away. I'm gonna go ahead and make the lines for the other two crosses as well, on both sides of the one that I already have. Again, doing the vertical lines first, and then I'll go ahead and add in the horizontal beams of the crosses. I'm still using my same brush, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it with black paint and then make the sideways lines, the horizontal lines. I'm making sure to kind of space out my things. You can see the center one's just a tiny bit higher than the ones on the side. And then always start with a skinny line, and then you can kind of thicken it once you have it there. I'm widening up the base just a little bit. But yeah, otherwise pretty happy. I'm going to go ahead and take off the tape. I put the tape on to make sure that my paper doesn't curl, and then also it gives such a nice white border at the very end.